Joining us now for tonight's big close-up is Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons. Director Lyons, let's start with what happened in Rhode Island. So the Portsmouth Police Department released a statement today saying this. While ICE was positioned outside and not involved in the in-station process, their presence and arrest were coordinated in advance with our department and HSI. Director Lyons, your response to that?
Thanks, Lisa. And I think the big issue with this is the fact that you saw in that video that they released, well, it took almost 5 agents to make that arrest when we could have just went inside the facility and took that, child sex offender into custody. They didn't cooperate with the detainer. And that's just one example of if ICE agents weren't available out front to take that individual into custody, you would have had another child sex offender go back into the community in Rhode Island. And that is what we're up against every day in these sanctuary jurisdictions. These aren't the individuals you want in your neighborhood or at the playground. Here's someone that was soliciting a minor for sex with a very bad criminal history, and yet they were going to let him out the door if the ICE agents weren't there.
Director Lyons, it's Alicia Acuna. Again, thank you so much for being here. A federal judge has issued a 14-day pause on further construction at Florida's Alligator Alcatraz. This comes just days after the White House announced the opening of a new migrant detention center in Indiana called the Speedway Slammer. It's located about 75 miles north of Indianapolis and will contain 1,000 beds. Here's what Indiana Governor Mike Braun had to say about the new facility.
We're trying to do nothing more than cooperate with the federal authorities to make sure that folks that came into the country illegally and then broke the law once they were here, that's going to be way up there in favorability to do something about it. I'm glad the Trump administration is doing it. Here in Indiana, we're proud to help.
Director, what more can you tell us about this facility and also the other states that you're working with?
That's one great thing under the leadership of Secretary Noem. She was a governor of a great state, so she knows what it takes to work with the federal government. So we're going to partner with all of our state partners that want to, work with us, especially like this facility. This facility in Indiana will have 1,000 beds in one of their penitentiaries that we can put the worst of the worst. And just like with Governor DeSantis down in Florida, we have activist judges that want to try to stop our construction, but the operation's still going to go on. We need these state partners, especially those who are involved in our 287G program that actually have deputized law enforcement officers that assist the ICE mission. It's really crucial to ensuring that we make America safe again by working with our state and local partners. And what these governors are doing are really helping us right now.
Director Lyons, Tom Shalhoub, ICE's new recruitment push includes ending age requirements for new agents, recruiting current law enforcement officers, and increasing incentives for new hires like student loan forgiveness. But the left is mocking these efforts.
You could be 18, you could be 75, you don't need a college degree, they'll take you, you can hang out with your absolute boys and defend your culture.
Sort of made the joke before, if you want to dress up like you're taking Fallujah to raid a Home Depot parking lot, ICE is for you.
But their insults aren't stopping Superman from joining ICE. Actor Dean Cain, who has played the Man of Steel, said he's signing up to be an agent. So we welcome Dean Cain, and I think that's great, and it's great PR for ICE. But, Director, how's recruitment going among, non-superheroes?
Well, Tom, it was great to have Dean come out and do that video for us, and I'll be swearing him in as an honorary officer here coming up in the coming weeks. But to have that exposure, to actually have people understand and actually look to what ICE is offering, I think that's huge. So for someone like Dean Cain to come out and say that and to try to help us in our recruiting effort, it's huge. And what really frustrates me is the fact that a lot of what the clips that you played puts ICE in a bad light. What we're doing is we're actually recruiting former veterans. We're recruiting current law enforcement officers that want to come to the federal government, ones that have specialized skill. Those are the folks where we're looking at. And we're going to bring these other law enforcement agencies on with us. And the recruitment efforts, I think, are great. Under the last administration, our numbers were, almost eviscerated. We were down so many deportation officers and special agents that we almost have to start from scratch now. In order to meet the president's priorities, we need these extra officers. And having these incentives is really going to help us meet that goal.
Director Lyons, David Webb. The left is getting more outrageous in their efforts to smear the ICE agents and the president. Here, for example, is what failed MSNBC host Joy Reid said earlier this week.
I believe what he is saying is that the brown people who are being deported and detained by ICE, by his masked agents, are natural-born field workers. Something about them makes them natural-born field slaves. He intends to bring the deportees right on back here soon, somehow, to get them to want to come back, because they make the perfect nearly slave labor.
Let's pivot to reality, Director Lyons, and something for the people of America that need to understand this. The priors that many of these criminal illegal aliens have, like the gentleman you talked about, and I probably shouldn't use gentleman, but the Guatemalan in Rhode Island. But talk about the priors, the number of prior arrests.
Yeah, and I don't know where Joy Reid got that from or where she even came up with that logic, because that's the rhetoric that puts my men and women in harm's way, is when we're painted in those type of bad lights. And you think about all those, prior acts of all these criminal aliens, David, like you said. We have the individuals that have been deported for fentanyl distribution, yet they come back and they commit more crimes. We had the illegal alien in New Jersey that killed that mom and 11-year-old daughter, who had been arrested for DUI 2 times the same month when he caused this accident and broke up that family. That is what ICE is actually doing. So comments like Ms. Reid had, that's just totally wrong. ICE is going to arrest you and find you. What the president is offering is, if you go back to your country, go back on your own. Go back, get the stipend, and then have the opportunity to come back and have the American dream and come in the right way. Because if ICE has to go out in the community and find you, you're not coming back in the country again.
Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons, I think trying to figure out what Joy Reid is thinking is an impossible task, but we appreciate you coming on tonight and trying to make sense of all of this. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thanks, Lisa. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.